Hi, and welcome back to another edition of the Sunday Vibes at NST podcast. And I'm here in the studio, Intan and Elena Koshi is also in the house.
Hello.
And once again, we've got communications specialists. I always stumble on this. What are you again? Karen Ho?
Karen Ho.
I am a multi-talented media professional, Chewa.
Ooh.
Do also voice work as well.
Okay.
Amongst many things. But thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
We've got a super talented person in the studio today, Al.
I know, I feel so inadequate next to her.
Okay, never mind. We'll pull up our socks because Karen Ho is in the house.
Exactly.
And let's just get on with the show because I think today's topic is quite apt because we're all friends here, and the topic is navigating adult friendships. And we're all adults now, I think.
Still
I'm
trying.
not sure.
Still trying.
Elena, are you awake?
I'm so bad at adulting.
You're so
not
bad at
sure.
adulting. Okay, let's help each other out on this one.
Okay.
So I'm just going to kick off first with, what does friendship mean to you as an adult compared to when you were younger? Would you say there's a difference? When you were younger, maybe back at school, compared to today, how you maneuver friendship today?
Oh God, why so deep? The first question?
I don't know.
Tell you what, I'll kick off first because
thank God.
I can't think of any big differences. To me, it's still the
Really?
same. Because to me, friendship was about having fun together, companionship, shared interests, talking
Okay.
about things that make you laugh or things that you can perhaps confide certain things or share certain experiences. So back then and now, it's pretty much in general still the same. In general.
You think so?
For me, anyway,
Okay.
yeah.
That's interesting because now when I think back, in those days when you were younger in the playground, I think it was all about, for me, it was about proximity. Sharing time together, hanging out together, having the same hobbies as each other. But I find as I grow older, adult friendship requires more effort. I think it's intentional. That's how I would put it. Because now there's things like sensitivities, you get certain conflicts that arise as adults. Sometimes I feel that we're a lot more sensitive to things, which we may otherwise, when we were younger, back at school, in the school playground, we probably would wave it off and we just have fun.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
And I feel like now as an adult, to maintain a friendship, I feel requires more effort. I don't know. Can you remember back in school when, somebody crosses you and you say, tak nak kawan lah, right? But you don't kind of do that when you're an adult, do you? It's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I mean, there are challenges definitely as you get older.
Yeah.
But in general, I guess I was looking at more of the general overview, as in what you seek from those friendships. And I think I'm pretty much seeking the same things. How I handle the friendships as an adult. You're right, I agree with you. There are more complications because, maybe the years of experience or our lives have changed and we have certain expectations, especially depending on how long you've known the person.
That's right.
So there are certain things that you grapple with which are very different
From when
compared
you
to
were younger.
Yes, of course.
What do you think, Al? Has your definition of friendship changed as you grow older? Has it become more
definitely.
complicated, would you say?
I think you're right. I think friendships become a lot more intentional as you get older because you don't spend the same amount of time you did
That's right.
when you were younger, because back then in school and sharing the same space as your friend meant that you saw that person every day and you naturally gravitate towards somebody you see every day. But as you get older, things are different. You go to different universities.
Yeah.
You spend time differently. You have different aspirations.
That's right.
So to maintain a friendship, I think, it requires a lot of effort.
And do you agree that when we think about adult friendships, it's more about quality rather than quantity? Okay. Do you remember when you were younger, for me, it was very important to have a big circle of friends because that shows that you're popular, especially when you're at school. Like for me. Okay. But now as I grow older, what I have discovered is I prefer to keep my circle of friends very small. In fact, maybe, 2 or 3 people is considered quality. So it's no more quantity. And I no longer measure, popularity based on, how many friends I keep. So, and now do you find that you're a bit more defined, or you have circle and then you have another circle around that circle and another circle? So
Yes.
inner, middle, outer. Do you have that? Because
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, you do. I think as you get older, you take no shit from people. I think when you're younger, it's different. You have a wide range of friends. You tend to not sweat the small stuff because you're young and
Having fun.
you're having fun, and you've got a lot of other things to navigate like school and studies and stuff. But as you get older, you tend to be more picky, I think, about the kind of friends you keep and the kind of people that you are you share your life with, or you share your secrets with, so to speak. Not
Right.
that I have many secrets, but you tend to be picky about the people you share with.
Are you selective, Karen? Are you, or do you have friends? You just, friends are just friends, so it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, for me, as long as I have a connection with those friends, there's something in common, or either from an intellectual level or just simply in sharing the same hobby. To me, that's a friend. Or if we get to the extent of, hey, I know your birthday, let's go and celebrate a birthday, then that's another level of friendship. So I have different levels and I have different circles as
Yeah.
well. I think at our age now, we kind of do have, because we've got our work friends who
Yeah,
became friends,
correct.
we've become neighbors who became friends, and then we've got like our gym friends who became friends, and all those different circles, they're kind of separate in a way.
Yeah, I was just
right?
going to ask you that. How do
Yeah.
you differentiate, the different between different kinds of friends, right? So as you said, you have your gym friends, you have your work friends, you have your, I don't know,
To me, I don't differentiate by where I met them, for
Okay.
example, but for the sake of explaining, oh, how do you know so and so? We met through work.
okay.
But when it comes to friendship, it doesn't matter whether I met you 10 years, 20 years ago, at this office, that office, down the road, in a shop. To me, it doesn't matter. It's more about the strength of the connection. So even if I met you just a year ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, if there's a strong bond,
Yep.
then hey, you're a good friend. If you remember my birthday, I remember yours. We have a great time. We gel, we connect on the same wavelength. Then you're a great friend. So to me, I don't put a huge emphasis on how long I've known you or where I've known you.
Yeah.
So that's why I've got friends from different areas from my past.
Yeah.
So that's for me. Yeah.
What about you, Al? Because sometimes I feel that because, maybe we've known someone for a long time, so there's this obligation to keep them, in our circle because, they've known us forever, right? But sometimes because as time goes on, as the years go by, as you mature, we evolve, right? And that friend that we had before is not necessarily the one that can walk the next phase of our journey with us, I feel. But there's always this conflict where, oh yeah, but she's been around ever since, I was in school. So we're, childhood friends. Therefore, we're supposed to be besties, that kind of stuff. But you don't have any what's the
Anything
word?
in common
Anything
with
in
that
common. You
person.
outgrow people, right? I mean, I do outgrow people. And then suddenly they sort of become, they occupy the outer circle. They're no longer the inner circle. Do you guys have that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
I mean, a lot of
yeah.
us have friends from school or that we've known, but along the line, well, along the decades, they tend to fall by the side, right? Because maybe we lost touch.
Yeah.
But there are friends who you connect with from school, and it's like back to normal again. So it kind of depends.
Right.
But yeah, I agree what you
Do
said.
you have those friends, Al, that
I
you
think I
that you
did.
have left behind?
Yes. I've had best friends from school, and they remained best friends for a good number of years. But over time, I think life got in the way, and she had different aspirations, and I had different aspirations, and we drifted apart. I mean, it's sad in a way that maybe like what we say, that friendships, to keep a friendship going, it has to be an intentional thing, but it also cannot be forced.
That's
You
true.
you
That's
can't
true.
force a connection, or you can't force the same level of closeness. I mean, things different. We evolve, things change. Life happens. So yes, I've had friends who I used to be close to, and who unfortunately fell away as time went by. I mean, there was no big fallout, or we didn't fight, or I
It's
don't.
just naturally.
It just naturally fell
Same.
away.
Yeah.
When I look back, sometimes I'm a little bit sad about that. I mean, I do miss the friendship we used to have, but again, we change. So sometimes you find, like what you said, you find that over time you don't have that same kind of connection or the same kind of things to talk about. Sometimes you find you don't have anything to say
That's true.
with that person, because we just completely like our circles are so separate. So it happens. I think as time goes by, we lose. There's a saying that not everybody you can't take everyone on your journey. So
Agreed.
sometimes some people, it stops halfway. Some people walk with you for a certain period of your time, and then after that, it's a different journey altogether. So I believe that. So
I
yeah,
think it's part of life. I mean, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure everybody listening would also can resonate with this kind of concept. I mean, if they've had a friend for a very long time, that
Yeah.
is, it's just part of growing up. Some
and
people you don't
and
connect
also I
with.
guess because as human beings we do evolve, right? We don't
Yeah,
stay
correct.
the same, in the same way, in the same,
Yeah.
what we want from something always changes, right? as
yeah.
as as you grow, right? And so what we needed back then may not be what we need now, perhaps. And maybe that same person who we absolutely adored back then no longer is
Yeah, and
able
I
to.
think it's perfectly fine. I don't think that we should feel bad or, I mean, of course, naturally, as Elena said, sometimes we feel sad
Yeah, I
because
feel
we think
sad.
about the good memories.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I can still remember one of my best friends back in school in London, who I've sort of also, the relationship has sort of, because we're in different countries now, you see, so that kind of thing, it's inevitable, right? But the hope is that when you connect again one day to catch up, then things are like, hey, but
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't. And I think it's perfectly fine that you don't carry this friend back into the next chapter of your life. It's
Yeah.
okay because there are new friends to make all the time.
That's true.
If
That's
you're that
true.
kind of person who makes new friends.
Right.
I do know some people who they stick to the same
That's
friends
right.
throughout their life and they're not comfortable making new friends anymore. So each to their own.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. What do you think? What do you guys think are the biggest challenges when it comes to maintaining female friendships as adults? Because obviously, as life happens, right? So some of your friends may get married, some will have babies, some may be chasing a career and stuff like that. So what do you think are the biggest challenges, or maybe the biggest challenge for you? Because okay, I'll answer that because you might get a bit confused with what I'm trying to get at. For me, it's time, making time, for friends. Not because I don't want to be around them, but for some reason, when you have to juggle a lot of things at this stage in our lives, I find that time is my biggest challenge when it comes to my adult friendships. What about you?
Yeah, I was going to
I
say, I agree.
yeah.
Life gets in the way, as some people
Yeah,
would
some
say.
people say that.
Time,
Yeah.
correct. Because we're so busy juggling career or family or whatever, that goes on in everyone's busy lives. I totally agree with what you said. That is the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Time is a challenge because you don't get to have that freedom of time where you can make that regular appointments with your friends and see them face to face,
Yeah.
or catch up over a cup of coffee. Sometimes it's just very difficult. I mean, like my besties and I, we don't see each other. I
Do you
think.
have besties?
Yeah, I mean, I have a small group of friends I call besties,
Okay.
but the thing is, I don't see them every day, or I don't even see them. Sometimes we go without seeing each other for months,
Right.
but they're just a phone call away. I think, like you said, because of time, that's when intention
Yeah, that's right.
comes
You
into
have to
play.
make the effort.
You have to make the effort, at least a
Also,
call.
I wanted to add another challenge I feel is also maybe things in common because, like you said, especially when some friends, if they were to get married and start having babies, and then that group of friends start talking about, oh, my baby is so cute. Look at my baby photos and my baby
And you're
this,
not
my
married
baby
and you
that.
don't have a
Correct.
baby.
Oh my
yeah.
God, I had
I mean,
that.
I haven't had friends like that, thank goodness.
I did.
But they probably sort of restrain themselves from sharing baby photos in our group.
Do you feel a bit
But
alienated when
no, I didn't.
mean, you
I
don't?
didn't because I
Okay.
think maybe I was lucky that they were quite mindful that
Right.
there are people in the group who are not married. So I mean, if they talk about their kids, I'm happy to join and say, "Hey, let me see your kids. Oh, they're so big now," or whatever, But they don't go on and on about
Right.
it. So it's
Yeah.
also about being mindful of everyone else in the group. But I think for some people, maybe when they come across friends who are into, things that they're not into anymore, others, maybe hobbies or family or career or that they don't quite understand. Oh, why are you talking about your banking career? I'm not really interested, or talking about
Yeah.
whatever.
But that's when I
Yeah.
feel that's when you start selecting different
Yeah.
people for different things,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So
No,
if
but I
you're
think even if you don't have anything in common, I mean, we can't always have things in common with our friends and, just completely, put our friendships on that kind of thing. Like, oh, I don't have anything in common with her. So, therefore there's no friendship, or therefore maybe I can't talk to her anymore. But I did go through that, when somebody got married, and suddenly that became their world,
What, the partner,
the
the
partner
marriage?
and the marriage and everything. And she was a best, she was my best friend when we were in school. But we were very close until she got married.
Were you jealous?
I was not jealous. I just felt that her world revolved around that. So our worlds kind of parted at that point of time, because
Interesting.
I was having a career and doing my thing, and she was a homemaker, and suddenly that was her thing. And sometimes it was just difficult because that was all she could talk about.
Well, I was going to ask you, I mean, were there not any, what's the word,
No,
mutual interests,
suddenly
like, hey,
there
food,
wasn't.
or
But
watching
this is someone
TV,
that you've
or
been friends with for a
For
long
years,
time.
for
So how can
years.
you say that there's
I
no
don't know.
longer
What do you
a
talk
common?
about? What did you
Because
talk
it
about?
was like this, like say if we were to go out, so she'll call me and say, "Oh, my I need to check with my husband.
Okay.
I need to." So I used to get so irritated, like, "Oh my God, it's yes, I'm just asking you out for coffee. I'm not asking you
Yeah,
out to go
yeah.
drinking or
I think that would. I
or
think
take
that would annoy
ecstasy
me.
with me. Not that I take ecstasy.
I think it's okay.
But you know what
No,
I'm
I
saying?
think that would annoy me too, Al.
That would annoy the shit out
I
of
would
me.
say, like, can't you be your own person?
Okay, maybe that's not so annoying. But then when she sat in front of me, she'd be constantly looking at her watch.
Right. I've had, yeah, I know
Right.
people like that.
And needed to check back
Yes, yes,
home
yes.
with
With
the
the
person
hubby.
at home.
Yeah.
Like, and then like if I dropped her back and the husband will be there looking like
Oh, I don't think I could handle that one.
looking not very happy lah. But you see, that's the thing. That's the thing,
Yeah.
because it,
No, that's
it
too much.
that's a little
That's
too
too
much,
much.
I think. I mean, but I
Yes.
did try. I did
Of
try.
course, yeah.
Because of course you got that sentimental attachment because she's a childhood best friend. You've known her since you were Form 1, and you've been best friends
You have
since you were
history.
Form 1. We have so much of history together, and suddenly, I mean, you journey, with all their relationships, and even with this guy, and until the wedding and things like that, and suddenly it's something else altogether.
Yeah.
But that was sad because I felt that I lost her.
Right. I was just
You
going to
know?
But
ask
I
you
mean,
that.
I was going to
just
say
gonna ask
that,
you that.
do you think that maybe that time her journey was different to yours, but it doesn't mean that, your path have to remain separate, and one day you could come back maybe
Yeah,
a few years
yeah.
later, or maybe she might
We-
realize that she should have been a bit more thoughtful about the topic of
Well,
conversation
we
and
did.
things.
We would still touch base. We did touch base over the years. Like, she would remember my birthday, and I would remember hers because hers was just one day before Merdeka, so it's August 30th. But the sad part was when she fell sick, when she got diagnosed with cancer, she didn't tell me.
Oh.
So I didn't know. I had no idea. So at that point, she just didn't contact me for a while. Then, but you see, the thing is, for all our major life events, we were still there for each other. Like when her dad passed away, I was there. I made sure I was there. So, weddings, funerals, and all that. But when my dad passed away, she wasn't there. So I was a bit, hey, how come she's not there? But she sent me a message, and she said that she was not well, and that she was, but she didn't tell me what it was. She just said, I was in hospital for an op, but I'm so sorry to hear. So yeah, so we connected for a little while. But you know what's the sad part? That she didn't, I feel that she didn't think we were close enough. Maybe she didn't want to worry me or whatever, that she couldn't even tell me that she was
Sick.
she was
sick.
ill, and I had no clue. Completely no. I was completely.
Did you feel bad?
clueless.
Do you feel bad about that because you wish
Of
you were there,
course.
right?
Of course, because she was recuperating or dying a few doors away from where I lived.
Oh, goodness.
So it was like I never knew until the day she passed away.
Wow, that's
So
tough.
when I got the news, of course I ran there and I was like blindsided, like what? Like what?
Would you know why she decided to take that course of action? Do you think it's because she didn't want to worry you, or do you think maybe because
I
she felt distant from you already?
I
Why do you think that
think
happened?
it's a lit. I probably think it's a bit of both,
Right.
because I think she's one. She's always been a very intensely private person.
Ah, okay.
So she didn't want to tell a lot of people. In fact, when she passed away, it was the family said it was for a different reason, but later only I found out that it was cancer. So yeah, so I mean, for the longest time, I was so mad at her because I'm thinking, here you are, my childhood friend, the one that I've shared everything with. And you have journeyed with me. It's just, yeah, over the period, life definitely got in the way. But we were still in touch. It wasn't that we were completely out of touch. She could have at least told me. I could have been there. I was just walking distance from her family home. So yeah, so I think that was one of the saddest friendship that fell on the sideways because we didn't have anything in common. Then you feel guilty because when something like this happens, you feel guilty. Shit, I should have been intentional.
Right.
Maybe I should
Right.
have tried
Made the effort.
harder.
But then I also think that because you said she's quite what's it called?
Private.
Private.
Yeah, yeah.
So she purposely did not want to have these hordes of friends, close friends. Basically being showering her with so much affection
Yeah,
and
I think,
kindness.
well,
When you're feeling sick, you just
yeah.
don't want to burden
I'm just trying to
people.
trying to think about what Elena's been saying and what you are suggesting. But for me personally, I would feel if I were that close to you, I would not be okay if you hid something so big from
Yeah,
me.
it was such a big
Yeah,
thing.
I
But
would
it also
not be
depends
okay.
on the status of your friendship at that
At that
time. If
time.
you were
I
already
mean,
distant,
true.
to be
then she probably
fair,
feels,
to be fair to
yeah.
her, we did drift apart, but
Right.
it was not that we were completely out of touch.
Right.
It's like, sometimes you drift apart, but when you pick up the phone and talk, of course you pick up where you left off. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like as though we had a major fallout and we're not friends anymore. But that's the thing. So you feel this guilt.
Yeah.
Like, oh, because childhood friend, shit, you should have done something, or
Right, right.
crap, you should have maybe
Been
called
there.
her more
Yeah.
often, or
Made
maybe
the
just
effort.
because she was living with her husband. I mean, it's not a few doors away, but when she was on the last end of her life, she was at her home, a family home that was just behind my house. So I'd have no idea.
I think I would have felt gutted actually, to
I
be
was
honest with you.
completely
Because like you said, she's just at the end of the road.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was completely gutted because thinking, this girl
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
I take a different opinion because I also can see another point of view where, yes, you might have many close friends, but we all don't know what it feels like to be in the last stage of your life, suffering cancer, how you feel, how tired, exhausted. And although you might want your close friends to be there for you or whatever, but none of us really truly know how it feels, whether you want people around you all the time, caring for you and pitying you, or do you want to just you know what, I want to do what I want to
think-
do in my
yeah.
silence, in my peace, and in my private time with my family. So
Yes.
although we can say, oh, I feel this, I feel that, I feel hurt, I feel betrayed, but at the end of the day, we are not the ones who were in her position, suffering or whatever pain that she was going through in the privacy of her own home. And because she's private, that tells me that she probably preferred to keep it with her family and very close friends.
Interesting.
Not saying you were, but because of the distance, so probably she just sort of kept it very small.
But I think, to be fair, I think she wanted to spend that days with her daughters. So because she had that amount of time left.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, I'm going to offer another one because we mentioned time as being the biggest challenge. For me, I would also say navigating conflicts and misunderstandings in adult friendship, because I find that sometimes I wonder whether truth should be told or whether I should withhold, because if truth be told, then I could rock the boat. But if I withhold, then I could be resentful that I cannot voice. Because as you get older, you tend to be more sensitive, and you think you need to do things a certain way because you need to navigate this very carefully, tread very carefully, especially if it's your very close friend. For example, if you disagree with something that they do, or if you're not in agreement with something that's going on with their life, do you tell them because you're their best friend, or do you not say because you think that if you say something, maybe it's it's not sought out. Therefore, just wait and see and just be the support that you need to be.
Wow,
But
that's a very
actually,
long question. So,
yes.
since you've asked this very long, complicated question, what
Yeah.
is your answer? I mean, you sound like you're in this
No,
position. You've been in this
I
position.
have been in
So,
that kind of position before.
right.
Okay, where I feel, okay, I may not agree with something that a friend is doing or has been doing, and but that person happens to be a very close friend. So in my mind, I'm thinking, honesty. I always would love to have honesty, but can I be honest in this situation? Because it might rub them the wrong way. Okay. And because we're more sensitive as adults, right, we try to sort of navigate it a lot more sensitively. We don't seek to hurt feelings, right? As I think when we were younger, we were not as what's the word, sensitive to these things. I think you just say what you want to say, and then, okay, let's be friends, let's go out to the playground. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I
Right.
still have a tendency, unfortunately, to be less than diplomatic.
Yeah.
But that's just a character thing, you see.
Yeah.
But of course, I totally agree. Nowadays as adults, we should be mature enough to understand that everyone is entitled to have their differences in opinion or the way they carry out their life. So
Yeah.
we're more understanding, I feel, and more empathetic and sensitive, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think each case is
Oh.
individual. I think some friends you probably feel that, okay, they're not going to take it to heart. Some friends, they are going to take it to heart no matter what they say. So I think how you handle it really depends on how much also that you treasure that friendship. If you feel that,
Yeah.
you know what, I like their friendship, but the honesty is the most important thing, then whatever happens, so be it.
Yeah.
It kind of depends also on yourself, right? The person and the other party too. So there's no really, I don't think there's any black and white solution to this. It's what's important to you. What do you feel you are willing to lose? Willing to lose your, to feel resentful because, I can't say, be honest, and honesty is so important to me. Or
Your
do you
principles.
treasure your principles, correct? Or do you treasure the friendship more? So again, it depends on that friendship.
I just feel
So
that if you treasure the friendship,
yeah.
therefore you would want the best for your friend.
Exactly.
Right? So
Yeah.
somehow delivering that very sensitive piece of information, which you think might be a little sensitive for your friend, because maybe, they might not like to hear it because it's the truth. I think the only other way is to re-examine the delivery of that message that you're trying to send.
I think it's
Correct?
all in the delivery as well. And it's also based on the type of friendship that you have with that person.
Right.
Because
Okay, if it were your best friend, how would you maneuver it?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of waiting it out and finding the right time to say it. Because not everybody receives it. Like it all depends. For me, it all depended on the timing
But there's
of the
never a right
delivery.
time.
It is never the right time, but eventually I would say it anyway because
Right.
my friends mean that much to me, and I think if I'm concerned or if I feel that that something is wrong, I would say it, but I would also give them that space to also make that choice for themselves. At the end of the day, I've said my piece, but I will always be a support regardless what direction they take.
So
But
basically,
that's
you say your piece, and the rest you leave to them.
Yes.
So you would risk losing the friendship because you want to say
I would
your
never
piece?
risk losing that friendship. I can tell you that hand to heart. I would never, because they know where I come from.
But even if you were honest, because it came from a good place,
Yeah.
but they took it personally, and then they decide that the messenger unfortunately gets to
Shot.
be
Well,
shot.
I
So
have
you're willing
the-
to lose that friendship because they
It is
took it
not
the wrong
about
way.
willing to lose the friendship.
The
It's
risk, sorry, the risk is
the
there.
friendship is already based on honesty, and the type of honesty that we have is that if they are not happy with something and they tell me, I may not like. I mean, it works both ways. So I may not like what they tell me too. Not necessarily it's me telling them what's wrong. They also have the same right to tell me and same right to check me. So it's a check and balance thing, and I appreciate that. Above everything, I may not like what is being said, but I do appreciate it. At the end of the day, because above everything else in a friendship, my biggest thing is honesty. So, and I think I gravitate towards people who are in that same space as I am. So, but of course, you're right. There are times when they tell something and I don't like what is being said. I may not react. I may not react at that time in a nice way,
Yeah.
maybe because I'm too upset about it. And the same thing happens with that person. They may be upset with me, but at the end of the day, I think we come to a space where we understand where each person is coming from. When you have that kind of
I think
friendship,
if you have that very close bond, you
yeah,
know that at the end of the day, ultimately they come from a good place.
yeah,
You might
exactly,
not like what you hear at the time. You may retreat many, many, many steps behind and
correct.
enter your cave.
Lick your wounds a
Lick your
bit.
wounds, enter your cave for a while, but that does not mean the end of the
Yeah,
friendship, right?
yeah,
Because surely the
exactly.
connection, the bond is already so strong. And no good friend intentionally sets out to hurt you. And I
I
think,
mean, if you're telling somebody that, okay, this is how I feel, I think your boyfriend is a loser, he's an idiot, he's using you, he's not doing this. I mean, you can say, but you don't have to say it that way, lah.
yeah.
What I'm saying is, you maybe you are saying your piece about it. They may not like it.
Yep.
They might retreat for a while to just, to we'll go into our separate
Agree to
spaces,
disagree.
agree to disagree for a while, and then we'll come back again.
Yeah.
So I think if you have a very close friend,
Yeah.
I think honesty is one of the best assets you
Yes.
can possibly have in a
I
friendship. I
agree.
think that's the best thing ever.
Yeah. I think you,
Yeah.
you don't always have to like what you hear,
Yeah.
right?
I
But
mean,
just as long as you understand.
imagine having a friend who tells you what you want to hear.
Yeah. True.
It's not a
It's
real
not.
friendship.
No, it's not. It's not.
They are just saying things so that to tickle your ears and make you feel happy about yourself. But
Yeah.
but what is that? That's
And if the friendship breaks,
so superficial.
this so-called
Yeah.
close, tight-knit friendship does break,
Yeah.
that means it wasn't
not meant to
really,
be.
it's
It
not meant to
wasn't-
be,
it
and then you
wasn't
move
meant to
on
be.
and find another
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world. It will be
It's not.
sad, to lose that friendship because you were honest.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't go down that road, then there are plenty of other
Okay,
friends
so
in the
Back
sea.
to the drawing board.
Okay, on that note, then, I'm just asking you guys, when it comes to true friendship, especially with your best friends, whatever, what is the thing that you value most? Or, I mean, is that self explanatory after what we've been discussing up to this point now? What's the biggest thing you require from a true friendship? Is honesty yours, Al?
Honesty and also, I suppose, empathy.
Empathy.
I mean,
Okay.
I think honesty without empathy is cruel.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just you're just shooting somebody and not building them up, because when you're honest about something, it's never meant to break a person down. You if you're just constantly being honest by itself, you're just breaking a person, you're not building them up.
Yeah.
But every friendship we go into, a friendship or a close friendship, is we want to build each other up. They say, what, women, we fix the crown, we don't remove the crown.
Yeah,
We fix the
very
crown
true.
on your head. If the crown is slipping, we want to put it back. That's friendship. So I think when you have honesty without empathy, it doesn't work. But when you have honesty and empathy, because everybody is going through their own struggles and everybody is trying to make sense of this world and life as it is, it's already hard.
Yeah.
And we make mistakes. So we want a friend who's honest, but want a friend who's also empathize what we're going
Yeah.
through. Lah.
Yeah.
So I think those two things for me goes hand in hand.
Okay, that sounds good. What about you?
Yeah,
Karen?
I will definitely agree with the empathy part, and I'm not sure if it's similar. Understanding is important because sometimes we don't have things in common, or we drift apart, or we do things that maybe our friend doesn't agree with. So it's important to understand each other's characters, our strengths and our flaws, and if this person chooses to do something different, be understanding or empathetic that that's their choice in life, that's their journey. They don't have to do what I like, for example,
Yeah.
right? So be understanding this person's character is this way. If they want to have 100 friends or one friend, is their choice. If they want to stay at home, not see anyone, or if they want to go out every day, be understanding and empathetic to their different,
Yeah.
personality and their life choices. So, and I think if we respect those choices and know that deep down we have the same values and that we care for each other,
Yeah.
and that we have a strong connection because of the history, I think that's important.
Interesting, because I think I would subscribe to that, but I would add respect as the other. So respect, empathy, and honesty. I do value honesty. I might not like hearing it sometimes, but I really do. I need that because in a world full of people that you may not be able to trust, I think it's nice to know that you can come back to someone or a base that no matter how difficult it is to hear whatever they need to say, at least you know it's the truth. At least they're trying to be honest. They're still looking out for you. But and empathy is very important, of course. You cannot just be shooting out stuff and hurting people with no thought about how they're going to be taking it, right? So, and respect. No matter, whatever, we all need to do what we need to do. Respect it, try to understand it, and just be supportive. Right. So, oh my God. Oh, on that note, oh dear.
I think we're damn good friends. Lah.
I didn't mean to keep this on for so long, but you know what? We've come to the end of the show.
Yeah.
I wanted to add another section, but I think I'll probably save it for another time.
Part two
on friendship. You see,
There's a
female
lot to
adult
say,
friendship.
right?
There's so much to say.
So much to say.
Yeah. So anyways, since we've come to the end of the show, before we go, I just need to remind all you out there to not to forget to get your copy of Sunday Vibes, which is inside the new Sunday Times. Failing which, just go online. NST Online. That's what I mean.
www.nst.com.my.
Yes, and we need your support on our Instagram page as well, Al.
Sunday Vibes _NST. Or was it NST _ Sunday Vibes?
Something like that.
Something
like that. But anyways, thank you, Karen, for joining us for this
Thank you,
episode.
ladies. Always a pleasure.
And very enlightening. I've learned a fair bit here today. Okay, so until the next time, bye.